Today we're going to be going over 2 motorcycle cornering incidences where there's a lot of motorcycle cornering mistakes involved, which is going to lead into a crash for both of them. Now the first one is going to be this person going a little bit too wide, especially around this blind turn, clipping a vehicle, and then possibly having a knee injury. Now the second one is going to be a high side. Now this is actually very interesting because we have 3 different perspectives on this one, so it's really good information for us to have so we can hopefully prevent this for ourselves and then learn from each and every single one of these. So let's go ahead and jump into this first one. If you're new to the channel, what I like to do is hyper focus on one frame at the very beginning. That way I can pick out as much information about the setting involved. So remember guys, you need to ride within the conditions of the setting itself, wherever you're at, not necessarily your abilities, and then definitely not your bike's abilities. Bikes are super powerful machines, and we need to mitigate, what's the lowest common denominator here? Is it the setting around us? Is it raining? Is it snowing? Or is it our ability as riders if we're beginners? Or quite possibly the capabilities of the bike could be super low and we can't even push it that hard. So right away though, what I find here is that this is a very capable bike, possibly a very capable motorcycle rider, but I see the conditions involved here. It's not the absolute best. Now we have a very powerful sun possibly blinding us. We have also a blind turn right here, not really a good shoulder on either side, so very low escape routes. And then on top of that, I think this is kilometers per hour, 63, 68 kilometers per hour. So I don't know if speed is going to be the factor, especially with some of the annotations and descriptions from the original video where he talks about why he went a little bit wide. I think he's very capable if you watch the first video. So this is definitely going to be just a beginner mistake. It's something that happens to anybody. And the biggest thing here is going to be target fixation, not looking where you want to go. So a lot of factors already, and that's what I see just from this frame. So you can kind of see right there how the sun plays into some of the visibility issues. Now, our eyes are very good. They're going to constrict and then dilate depending on the light outside. And right here, when you get some light in your eyes, it really it messes with you. Your eyes are probably dilated a little bit. You got a dark shield on, and all of a sudden you get a bright flash of light in your eyes. It can kind of blind you a little bit. So lower visibility definitely from a blinding sun is very important to understand. And then also understand that car drivers themselves are going to have the same problem. They can be veering off into your lane or not, depending on how good of a driver they are. At the end of the day, be very aware of that. So we're going to go ahead and go around this corner, and what he says in his video is that the reason why he went wide is because of this manhole cover right here. I don't know why the city or whoever, the county, decided to put a manhole cover on a blind turn like that. Not very smart, and actually kind of upsets me a little bit that they did that. But that's why he said he went a little bit wide. Now you can choose 2 different places. You can choose to go right here or go where he's going right now. Typically for me, especially on these blind turns with sun in the eyes, different factors, all that stuff, I'm not here to race. So that means I'm at a slower speed. Now, I'm sure he's not here to race either. He's probably just having a good time. I personally have great times riding in the mountains, trying to find the best line possible and having control of the bike. So when I see something like this, what I would be doing is going into like a lane position 2, especially around a blind turn. And then since the conditions aren't allowing me to go super fast around this turn, I'm going to slow it down. That way I can get good vision around the turn consistently. Now, what he's doing is that he's just trusting the road to continue on doing what it's doing, like it's been doing if you watch the original video. And this one kind of caught him off guard. It kind of shook him up a little bit. So this right here is going to make him go a little bit wide. And then this is going to be another factor though. So we talked about a couple factors, sun in the eyes, blind turn, no real escape paths to the shoulders because there is no shoulders, and then low visibility because of the blind turn and because of the sun in the eyes. But if we're also going too fast for the conditions, so if we're going too fast for that area, we can't see road hazards. So right here, this is definitely a road hazard. So if we slow it down before the turn, definitely slow it down because of all the lack of vision, lack of visibility, we might be able to navigate around this manhole cover and not have to go wide, which in turn will allow us not to clip this vehicle. So you see how taking away certain factors or mitigating some of these factors will hopefully stop or mitigate a possible crash or close call later on. So start decreasing those things while you're riding, so hopefully nothing ever really happens and then everything is like a non-event. But what happened here is that he didn't do that. He went a little bit wide to miss that manhole cover, and then immediately you see how the camera and then the bike kind of started to switch up. So I'm gonna go ahead and scroll back just a little bit. It looks like he's looking through the turn. This freaked him out, and then now since it freaked him out, lost his focus, he's looking at the car. So remember, looking where you want to go is very important for slow speed and high speed, but he's looking right now where he doesn't want to go because of target fixation. So he's looking towards the vehicle. You see how everything kind of just stands up, and he's kind of pivoting this way. The bike still wants to go this way, but he's pivoting this way. That right there is his vision is looking towards the vehicle. So target fixation is going to be the biggest problem here. So let's move forward just a little bit. He clips the vehicle, and he's going to go ahead and get off to the side right here. Now, if you noticed, let's go ahead and go back just a little bit. A little black thing flew off his bike. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to kind of talk a little bit about that and kind of where the position was. So let me go ahead and scroll back just a little bit. You see it kind of bouncing right there, and then it's right there, and it's right there, and it's right there. Yeah, that right there is his slider. So there are sliders on each side of his bike. It's to protect his fairings in the case of a drop, low side, or something like that. And you can actually see it right here. Now, that's what's pretty interesting. So this right here, this little piece of metal, that's where the slider is supposed to go onto. It actually clipped the vehicle. Well, right there, that's kind of close to where his knees are at, right? So let's go ahead and move forward a little bit. And you kind of notice how he's starting to put more weight on his right leg, and then he's holding the guardrail with his, right now with his right hand, but he can't really walk. So he's got a knee injury now. So that right there is a common injury for an angular incident. Typically, T-bone, head on, angular is kind of glancing off and then moving off. So right there, you're going to have some type of injuries. It's not going to be as bad as a T-bone or head on, but you're still going to have injuries. So this is why you need to wear motorcycle-specific gear. So with motorcycle-specific gear, especially pants, you're going to have armor inserts in the knees. Typically, the minimum. You can have armor inserts in the hips, which is highly recommended because this could possibly be a hip injury too, on top of a knee injury. So be very careful with that. So the whole point of this one is making sure that we understand that we're riding within the conditions present, okay? And on a perfect day, perfect everything, we could probably go all out using all of our riding ability. I don't recommend it. I always recommend riding sub-maximally to your riding ability, so 80% out of your total 100% skill. That way you leave 20% on the table so that if something does happen, you can utilize that last 20% of your skill. So slow it down. Don't go crazy with your riding. But the biggest thing here is definitely making sure that we're riding within the conditions, okay? So like I said, if it's raining, snow, all that stuff, take it easier than if it was a normal day, okay? So let's go ahead and jump into this next one and talk about what a high side is. Pretty cool how we have 3 different shots. But right away, before we jump into this, because these are motorcycle crashes, I do want to explain to you that we have the best motorcycle community ever. Okay, so make sure you join the Discord. It's a free chat room, and it's a lot of fun. This way you can see all the videos that I post. That way, if YouTube decides to not share them because they're either age restricted or demonetized, it allows you to see it when they come out. Plus, on top of that, we have over 3,300 members inside the Discord. So if you want to get to hang out with some people, have some fun, this is the place to do it. Links will be in the description in the first comment with the timestamps, okay? So this one right here, it's gonna be a high side. Now a high side is basically when you start to go into a low side, you're starting to slide down, drop the bike. All of a sudden the rear tire or front tire grabs traction, tries to correct itself, but all that momentum, all that movement is gonna sling you off. It's almost like a bucking bronco basically sliding you off. Now that right there is what happened in this situation. So let's move forward a little bit. And they've been riding for a while, and supposedly this is like a 0. So the motorcycle's 0, no combustion engine, it's all electric. I'm assuming this is like a demo ride or something. Maybe they're all a group of friends, but they have a lot of torque. So you have to be very careful with that throttle control. And during turns, you just cannot slam that throttle. And I think that's what happened, is that he might have gave it a little bit too much throttle. Maybe it's a new bike to him anyways, and gave it some throttle. And then it lost traction on that rear tire. We've already talked about traction quite a bit. You have acceleration, deceleration, and then turning that take away from your tire traction. So when you give it a little bit too much, especially with a lot of torque, it's going to just basically wash out. So when it started to wash out, maybe he rolled off the throttle a little bit and then regained traction. So he's sliding, release a little bit of throttle, gain some traction, boom, fling off. It's very bad, very high impact type injuries to the body. Okay, so right here, slide right there, and then it gave him traction. So let's go ahead and go back just a little bit. So this is what I'm talking about. So it's going to slide, and then all of a sudden, where is it at? Boom, right there. It's going to gain traction. You can kind of see the suspension. You see how the suspension is extended? So when the weight went onto that rear tire, watch, it's going to go ahead and compress. That means there's weight to that rear tire. Boom, right there. As soon as it grabbed traction, it's going to sling them forward. Now, right here, this is what I'm talking about when it comes to multiple injuries, is that you are ejected. You have all the momentum. There's no really slowing down before the impact. And so right away, hands, possible hand injuries. That's why you wear gloves, guys. So you can hopefully reduce or minimize some of the abrasions or the impacts. But remember, the impacts are going to travel all the way up your arm, and possibly you're going to hurt your shoulders and elbows too. So right there, now we have elbow impact to the ground. Elbow armor, guys, elbow armor. And then he's going to roll. Now his, I believe it's his left shoulder, so his left shoulder now, that's why we have armor in the left shoulder. And then now his head's going to hit. So, and he's going to bounce a little bit and roll into his back. That's why back protectors are very important. So if you have your motorcycle jackets, if it's really squishy, possibly like a gray foam, that is not good enough. You need to get a new one. So that is just a comfort foam that is delivered with a lot of jackets. So what you want is CE rated armor. And I talk all about that in my ebook. So if you guys want to check that out too, go ahead and check it out. Right now it's on the DDFMcrew.com website. And I'll also have that linked in the description where I talk about what is CE rated armor and stuff. So he's going to go ahead and roll. Now his whole right side is going to have impact. So his right hand, right shoulder, right elbow, right hip, right knee. So this is why you need to have full protection everywhere. On a high side, when you get ejected, you tumble. And that's where you start getting all these different injuries, especially the head. So make sure you wear a helmet too. So now let's watch it in full speed from a different perspective. So he's going to ride. This is his bike. He's riding. And then here comes the boom right there. Very damaging and very painful type of injury. Now we're going to watch from, I believe it's from the back perspective. And this is kind of what I wanted to really bring out into this video. And we talked about some of the injuries. We talked about what a high side is. But one thing a lot of people aren't really noticing is that this rider, the one we have a camera on right now, he did a very good job of straightening the bike up and applying the brakes. Now, this is an emergency skill along with, emergency progressive braking and swerving. And this one is a swerving and progressive braking combined, because we're having to turn when we're turning. Oh crap, something's happening. Swerve a little bit. So this is kind of like a swerve, right? So we're bringing it back up to square and then applying progressive brake pressure. So let's watch this real quick. Straightening up right there, then applying brakes. You see how he straightened it up? So this is what I talk about when it comes to not necessarily having to understand trail braking. Trail braking will help you out so much in this situation, so I always recommend getting more tools for your toolbox. But right here, this is a beginner skill that you learn in the MSF Basic Rider course, is when you're in the middle of a turn, you straighten it up and then apply the brakes progressively. So right here, he's going to go ahead and straighten it up and apply the brakes progressively, and then find a spot where he can go while he's trying to figure out what the situation is. But they're all going the same speed basically around these turns, and he was able to straighten it up and apply the brakes. So very good on this rider for having very good basic fundamental skills and being able to utilize them. So that, remember, that's the whole point of the S.M.A.R.T rider system, is to seek out, situational hazards, all these different things. And then also the M portion, maintaining fundamental motorcycle skills. And this is one of them. So he did a very good job, and this is all you really need in this situation. Now, like I said, trail braking is more an advanced technique, and you can actually stop a little bit faster than this, but this is definitely a fundamental skill that I think every rider should have. So kudos to this guy. I don't know who he is. Very good job. This guy seems to be walking wounded, so he seems to be doing fine because he's got full gear. So guys, that is the biggest thing here. Make sure you're looking out for different situations, especially with hazardous zones, with blind turns, you know, with sun in your eyes, everything. And then on top of that, maintain your fundamental skills. So in the first video, really commit to that turn. Even though you see that little thing right there, commit to the turn. It's just the way it is. Should have slowed down beforehand. Acquiring personal protective equipment for yourself and for the bike is very important too. So he had sliders in the first video. In the second video, he had full gear, so he's able to walk away basically. And then we need to make sure that if somebody is completely hurt, like if they're not getting up, that we know how to take care of our buddies. Okay? So having basic trauma-related skills is very important, and that's the R part in S.M.A.R.T. Now, the T is to teach and mentor, and that is what I do Tuesdays and Thursdays on this channel with a live stream. So make sure you guys check that out. We'll be having one tomorrow. So click that subscribe button and the notification bell button. That way you know when those come up. So with that said, I hope you guys ride safe, be safe, and we'll be seeing you around.